Chad Eller, and our second lesson today is related to the first lesson. So the first lesson was on that silent R in many British words. This second lesson is on the British linking R. So with many of those British words where the R is dropped, we talked about car turns to ca, cork turns to cork, so that R gets dropped. The R returns in some cases where a word ends with an R, but the next word or syllable starts with a vowel. And then an R gets inserted between those, and that's called the linking R. So it links the two words together with an R sound. Some examples I'll show you. On the slide you'll see, in my American accent, I would pronounce the first one as far away. So two words, far and away. And in blue, you'll see the transcription for the American pronunciation of far away. Far away. In the British pronunciation of far, you'd say fa, not far. That longer vowel with no R sound. But because away begins with a vowel, that R gets inserted between those two and links the two words. So in British English, like the American pronunciation far away, the R returns. So then you get far away. It's a slightly different sound in British, but it's very similar to the American. So far away in American accent and far away in the British pronunciation. The second example I have here is here I am in American pronunciation. And in British, the here, of course, would have no R sound in it, so it would be here. But when you follow it with the I am, which I begins with a vowel, that R is then inserted in. So you get here I am, here I am. So very similar to the American pronunciation. This third example is interesting, for one, because many British speakers drop the H sound in the word hand. So even though hand, you've got the word forehand is a word for a kind of hit in tennis, when you hit a tennis ball. This way it's a forehand. And in American pronunciation, you would hear the R and the H, forehand. In British pronunciation, the H is often dropped, and the R then returns between those, because when you drop the H in hand, you get and. So it's a forehand. So in American pronunciation, a forehand, and in British pronunciation, a forehand. And you'll see my example on the slide. This sentence, I'll say it first with an American accent and then with my British accent. Her four-handed tennis serve was far harder than his. Her four-handed tennis serve was far harder than his. And in my British accent, her four-handed tennis serve was far harder than his. Far harder than his. Her four-handed tennis serve was far harder than his. So we'll turn to the practice slide. Okay, and now for the practice slide for the linking R. So now stop the video and see if you can pronounce the following phrases using the linking R sound between the bolded words. You can start by saying the first word the British way with no R, then inserting the R sound when you say the whole phrase. For example, in the phrase flare up, You can say flare as flare, and then together as flare up, flare up. So the British would insert the R in there. The Americans already have the R. So again, you can practice saying flare in the British way, flare, and then flare up with the R inserted. So do the same with these 4 examples at the bottom of the screen. And when you come back, I will go through each one and show you how it's done. Okay. So we're back. So the first example is the door is open. So the bolded words door and is. So the British pronunciation of door, again, you drop the R. So it would be door. But when you have door is, that R comes back in. So the door is open. The door is open. So you hear that R come back. And that's the linking between those 2 vowel sounds. Door and is. Door is. The second example, letter opener in my American accent, and in British English, letter, an opener. Letter with no R, but when you put those words together, the R comes back for letter opener. Letter opener. You hear the R at the beginning of opener. Letter opener. The third example, I saw a film today. In my American accent, there's no R because there's no R in saw. But in a British accent, they would often put an R between those 2 because it's 2 vowel sounds together. So it becomes, I saw a film today. I saw a film today. The last example, the spa is closed in my American accent. And in British, spa is pronounced the same way as in an American accent. But when it's followed by a vowel sound, is, it gets an R insert. The spa is open. The spa is open. So you can hear that the R comes in a little bit. And you'll see that example of the inserted R in many, many British phrases if you listen closely. So just to go through these again, the door is open, letter opener, I saw a film today, the spa is open. Hello, and we're back with my assistant, Jai.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we're going to go through the practice words, these phrases. So like I recommended, try to say the first word there in a British way with no R.
Door. Door.
Good, good. So no R, a little longer. So now say the whole phrase, the door is open, and try to put that R back in there.
The door is open.
Good, but a little faster.
The
But you did
door
it.
is open.
The door is open.
The door is open.
Very nice. So how about this next one? So say the first word in a sort of British style.
Letter.
Mhm.
Letter.
Mhm.
Letter. Open. No. Opener.
Yes, and now try to put the R in there.
Letter opener.
Letter opener.
Letter opener.
That's hard. Letter opener.
Letter. Letter opener.
Good. So you did what I recommend, which is think of the R being in front of the next vowel. So letter opener. Letter opener.
Letter opener.
Yes, letter opener.
Letter opener.
Yes, good. So how about the next sentence? With those 2 bolded words, what's the first one sound like?
I saw a film today.
Good. Yeah, that was very nice. Say that again.
I saw a film today.
Good. That sounded very natural. Say it
Thank
one
you.
more time.
I saw the film today.
Yes,
I
good.
saw the film today.
Good. And the last one. Just the word, just that first bolded word.
Spa.
Uh-huh.
The spa is closed.
Good. Good.
The spa is closed.
Right.
Closed.
And that's an interesting one because in British the R comes in there, and that's more of a intrusive R than a linking R. They're similar. You can look it up if you'd like. But the American accent would have no R there. The spa is open. The spa is open. But in a British accent, again, the spa is open. So a little bit of an R sound between them. And that is the lesson on the linking R. So thank you very much.